Hello, everyone. Today I am meeting Dr. Nashid Kamal, uh, who is a professor of medical demography, and she is also a very significant uh, singer, a writer, a cultural personality in Bangladesh. So Nashid Kamal is joining me here today from Dhaka, Bangladesh. Uh, Nashidapa, I'm so delighted having you with me here.
I'm also delighted, Reshmi, that you chose to bring me into this wonderful platform.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like to tell my viewers why you were so relevant to me, particularly for this event.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm a Nazrul Giti vocalist as well, so I'm part of the Bangladesh Nazrul Giti Parishad, and the Facebook group they have, I quite often follow that. And one day when this COVID-19 pandemic started unfolding, and we all started kind of getting ready with the change situation, I saw one of your live Facebook broadcast through Nazrul Giti Parishad. So when I saw it, I started listening to you, and the more I listened to you in that live broadcast, the more I felt how relevant you were with the time that was being unfolded in front of us, and your speech there was, I found it so informative and so impressive to me, and I sort of felt very connected with your presentation there. And you know, I mean, in sociology, we quite often talk about agency, sense of agency, individuals' agency. So that very moment, I felt like you were speaking from your sense of agency.
I was actually, yeah.
Yes, it was very much telling through your presentation. And I was telling to myself, like, look at her. I mean, she is speaking all from her sense of agency. Am I be able to do something during this time from my own sense of agency? So that very moment, I thought of what social capital I have, what I can do at that very moment for this humanitarian crisis that I can feel that happening around me where I live, and also my native country, Bangladesh. So that was a very telling moment for me, and I still thank you for that, those few live broadcasts you had informing us who are staying far away from our homeland, knowing what's going on during this COVID-19 pandemic crisis. So here you were. I'm very glad that we connected, and also, like, in that Facebook session, people mentioned, like, oh, we didn't know that you could speak in such informed way, but and many people know you as a singer, as a cultural personality. But you know, I know that you were not only a singer, you were a scholar. You were the visiting scholar in the same graduate school where I went to. So there was a connection from the past. Anyway, I would just like to know today how things are in our country, and from your own experience, how we are doing in terms of humanitarian help to the underserved people in particular.
Thank you, Reshmi. Let me start by saying that today I'm really happy that I went on Facebook Live, because I'm in a position in the IEDCR, which is monitoring the COVID-19 right now. And they are bringing in the cases and keeping account of everything. I teach there part-time. I teach biostatistics and mathematics to the medical students. So yes, everybody doesn't know everything about everyone. There are two sides of me. One is the cultural personality. The other is the mathematician that I am. So I was just thinking that since the government had still not started the lockdown, they had all these passengers coming in. 7 lakh actually came in from Italy, Spain, and other places in Europe, and how the possibility of each person spreading 7,000 others would then multiply and go into community transmission, which has happened right now. And I went on Facebook Live to warn people. And I'm so glad I did, because I was just thinking that although these are singers and all my friends who basically know everything about everything, but even if there is one person who is sensitized by something that I'm saying, and everything that you say is not necessarily everything that you hear on TV. Sometimes, like you were saying, that as a person of agency, sometimes you're privileged in the social, you have some social capital. So what you are saying, people will put and give more attention to that than political fellows or fellow doctors who have, I would say, that their skills of presentation may be dull, or they are not able to communicate very nicely to everybody. Just now I was watching television, and all the workers are coming from the villages. Currently, the garment factories have been opened, not all of them, but only some of them. And the larger factories, they are being able to maintain the 6 feet distance and all the subscribes of the WHO. But the smaller factories, they are unable to maintain that distance. And it is really amazing that these factory workers, when they were interviewed this morning on television, they were saying that they are really not aware of all these social distancing. Even it has been mentioned so many times on television, so many times on the radio. I think poor people who have come from these walk of life, they don't own television. And even if they own, they are so busy with their own lives, daily lives, they have to do everything themselves, and they don't have the time to even comprehend what kind of virus is happening and what is a pandemic and how it will affect our lives. Their main thing that they are saying, that unless we get the money to provide for our families, we don't care for what kind of virus is happening. So it's like I was talking to you yesterday, and I was telling you about poet Qazi Nazrul Islam's song. Phul nebo na, ostru nebo, phul nebo na, ostru nebo, bhebei hui akul, নয়ন ভরা জল গো তোমার আঁচল ভরা ফুল. So the choice of the government is between phool nebo na ostru nebo. It is unless the industries are working, they cannot fulfill the needs, and they cannot bring back the dollars. Those dollars are needed to pay the workers. So the country is not in a position to provide food or daily necessities for everybody. There is no vital registration system. It's not only the garment workers, it's also, like you mentioned, the musicians who teach door to door. They have programs on television. If everything is shut down, there's the barbers, the sellers, you see on television, you see about America also. Some of the states have started opening the salons because they need to work and they need to bring in the money. So what we are getting news from the Singaporean research, yesterday it was published, that around second week of May, we will be getting a peak. The rates will still double and multiply. And now that the industries, the garment factories have been opened, there is more chance of community transmission. And some of the places had been locked down, but now they are forced to let the workers come out of that place. And in each of the factories, they are practicing the WHO methods as much as possible. Even then, we know there are people who are asymptomatic, who are not showing any signs, and they may be spreading it to 7,000 other people. So we will reach, according to one of the papers that I had read, on which I had actually started the initial discussion, which you had seen on FB Live, there will be 80% of the people of Bangladesh will have some coronavirus once or the other, in a mild form, or 5% of them will have in the worst form. And more than 1 lakh people will die. That is the prediction of the epidemiologists.
Mm.
This was a paper published by John Hopkins, Brack School of Public Health, and North South University School of Public Health.
Mm.
So if the prediction is true, although the government is taking a lot of measures to provide food door to door for daily workers, for people with disabilities, there are very different kind of sectors where food and provisions are needed. Not everyone has been provided in 1.5 months. So this is a time, really, this is a time for all of us to bring all our agencies together and work hard for whoever we know, whether race, creed, political affiliation, anything. We should rise above. And Bangladesh has had nominated poet Qazi Nazrul Islam as the national poet of the country. He himself was not in his senses when this was done. Bangabandhu was a great fan of poet Qazi Nazrul Islam. Nazrul বলে নাই যে আমাকে তোমাদের জাতীয় কবি করো. But our intellectuals, they had read Nazrul's works and they were fond of Nazrul Islam. And Nazrul Islam's biggest message is Gahi Shammer Gan. So this society that we have gotten in the last 10-15 years, we are boasting that there has been a lot of progress, but the progress has been only unidirectional. It has made the poor even poorer and the rich even richer. And the divide between them has been a lot more than what it used to be. We see very, very rich people. So this is the time. This is the time when we have to give up our vanities. I remember that when I was growing up, my father was a practicing barrister and mother was a professor in the university. We were never allowed to use our car to go to the university. If for some reason there was rain or hailstorm, my father would drop us in the university and he would drop us a little bit ahead and say, take the umbrella and walk to your university and don't show off to others that you own a car, that your family owns a car. We all had to play low and not exhibit that we have. I studied in England. I studied for 4 years for my PhD. All the professors, they wear clothes from Oxfam. They come in bicycles. They are so humble. You must be knowing about this. But in Bangladesh, we are such exhibitionists. We just display our houses and cars. But the reason I'm saying this, that this is the time to bring ourselves down on our knees and beg to God that God, we should not be exhibitionists. We should give out to others. There's a joy in giving out to others. There's a joy in seeing happiness when people are fed, when children can go to school. There are the sex workers, there are the children of the sex workers, there are the daily laborers, there are the people who have migrated, who have been brought back from the Middle Eastern countries and European countries because they lost their jobs. All these people need support. And they're the small business people, they need support. Now, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government is trying level best to provide as much as possible. But we know that the government alone, in any of the countries of the world, look at UK, look at USA, look at any of the countries like Italy or Spain, the government alone cannot do everything. We as community, we as members of the community, from our own point of view, we should do something to help the others, because the peak is yet to come. And one of the studies from Singapore, it says that the peak will be in middle of May. And because we haven't been able to prevent community transmission, it will gradually taper down by July. The UK university, Oxford University, Sarah Gilbert, she's trying to develop this medicine, inoculation. So if that is successful, that has been called, a super trial, so that it can be given fast to the human beings. Instead of going for a clinical trial of 2 years, they're trying to make it as fast as possible. So if that is possible to give by October, only then we can think of some kind of remission from the COVID. But as you know, it has mutated into several different forms. And the one that was found in China and some of the other ones that we have found in America or UK have been 270 times higher resistance ability. So really, we don't know what kind of inoculation we will get from Oxford and how much of that will be able to prevent the people. But as you know, we said at the beginning that we have to keep the economy going. Unless the factories perform, they cannot deliver the stuff. The ports have to be opened up. Everything is in a cycle. Unless money changes hands, like any other country, we will have to suffer. And Bangladesh already is in a 6% deficit budget.
Mm.
How much more can we do without working? So we will have to face this choice. We will have to study situations like the 1918 pandemic of the Spanish flu and see how many years it took them. For right this moment that you and I are talking, we need more and more collective measurements to collect donations and give out food, give out livelihoods to people who are without livelihoods. And that is quite a huge number of 5 crore people who are below the poverty line. And it is not a time for us to boast about our GDP, because we will be suffering great loss. And to say the least, that Prime Minister has given out a statement that, it is very sad and shocking that if I were to give material for covering up the dead bodies, then some of my people in my party are going to make Punjabis out of them. How dreadful is that? Because of the shocking news that some of the UP, the politicians have been hoarding the money. So this is a message through this live thing that's going on, that please do not hoard the money. If tomorrow coronavirus strikes you, you will be 6 foot under. Darader bhai bondhu jana মইলে সঙ্গে কেউ যাবে না মন তোমারি. Nobody will accompany you. তোমার পিছে পিছে ঘুরছে সমন, পিছে পিছে ঘুরছে সমন, একদিন হাতে দেবে দড়ি, ওরে মন কোন দিন হাতে দেবে দড়ি, দেখ না মন ঝাঁক মারিয়ে দুনিয়াদারি.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm beyond words, Nashid Appa, and I'm so honored having you with me for this very little initiative that I've taken, and you have said it all. In fact, the kind of work that I have done so far through my work, it has crossed through your work in so many ways, and right now, during this time, the way you are viewing the situation, I feel connection with that as well. Like I totally agree that at this very moment, we all should be working collectively, using all our agencies, all our sense of agencies from inside us, and being humble and working together. There is no time to spend, because there are so many people who are waiting for our assistance right now. I thank you for. I know you are being very active with all the volunteering work right now, in addition to teaching students and also online, of course, and
checking their scripts,
singing and helping the musicians in Bangladesh as well. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. And please keep your eyes open for the poor people of Bangladesh.
Yes, through my event, I know that so many aware people right now are watching you, and certainly I believe we'll receive some donation so that we can send
distribute to others.
Them.
I have my own trust fund foundation in my grandfather's name. And through that, I try to distribute as much as can, through their phone numbers, and find out if their food has finished, if they're ill. So let us do our bit. That's all we can on this earth.
Yes.
Thank you, Reshmi.
Thank you, Nahid Appa.
Goodbye.